Good morning, evening, afternoon, everyone. I am Dorm, and I like talking about movies. Today we're going to do something a little different. I want to talk about how I felt Wonder Woman 1984 severely drops the ball. For the record, I was a big fan of Wonder Woman 2017. It's actually my second favorite DCEU, hard to say, movie after Birds of Prey, and came into this with super high hopes. Hopefully this video will detail why I was left pretty disappointed. This video contains both major and minor spoilers for Wonder Woman 1984. You've been warned. We open on Diana and other midichlorians, or whatever they're called, in some sort of Olympian trial thingy. Diana's in the lead, takes a shortcut, arrives first, but is pulled out for cheating and learns the value of truth. This is the first in many attempts to make the narrative through line truth versus lies, but that's very hit or miss for the rest of the runtime. After the flashback, we see Wonder Woman saving random people around DC in a "hey look, it's the 80s" montage, somehow without an 80s song. Speaking of the setting, it was one of the more intriguing parts to me coming in. Despite my optimism though, most of the 80s-ness of this film is very lackluster. That musical trend continues, by the way. Despite the trailer's use of Blue Monday, there isn't a single licensed song from the decade in the entire film. Wait, Jesus, yeah, I read that correctly. Wow. All of the neon promised in the promotional material is also either missing or so scant that I don't remember it. And we really could have used some of that. Without getting too far ahead of myself, a lot of the movie is gray or blue to the point of the final fight scene looking like a deleted scene from Battlefield Earth. For a marketing campaign that was bathed in color, this film desperately lacks it. After our montage dose of the member berries, we enter on Kristen Wiig's character, Barbara Minerva, who is showing us she's a klutz over and over and over again. In a little time, she and Diana are tasked with finding the origins of a stone of unknown origin. I probably could have written that better. This can't possibly go badly. As they're studying it, a coworker walks by and quickly touches it, saying he wishes he had a coffee, and suddenly one appears in front of him. Wait, is that Assam Chowdhury? It is, and he's literally in this movie for like 15 seconds. I still have no idea why. I know him from Taskmaster, he's great. Feature him more. Why is he just like a random cameo?
Oh, poor Jon Snow's drowning in cream right now.
We eventually find out that this artifact is a wishing stone, and it requires the person to be touching it for their wish to be granted. Diana, quote, knows what she would wish for, that's all she says to it, I think, and later Barbara wishes to be like Diana, simple enough so far. Then comes one of the worst scenes of the movie. Pedro Pascal's character, Maxwell Lord, hilarious, who has known of this stone because of reasons that's never established why he knows what this stone is donating to the Smithsonian where Barbara and Diana both work. They throw a party to celebrate this donation. Is that normal? I don't know the life of researchers, and I didn't know it was so lavish. And Lord seduces Barbara into allowing him up to her office where he steals the artifact. Oh, also, apparently Barbara's hot now because of the wish, even though she was already cute and just changed her hair and outfit. That's a thing, I guess. Here's where the movie gets weird. I'm just laughing reading this. Diana, roaming the gala keeping her eye on Lord, runs into a guy who claims to know her. She brushes it off, he doubles down, quoting Chris Pine's character from last time, whose watch has been alluded to in this movie an interstellar amount of times. She then realizes, this was not clear to me until later, that it's Steve, Chris Pine's, soul in another man's body. The movie then films him as Chris Pine, despite it not actually being him, just his soul? What? I know she wishes for him to be back, that was her wish that she alluded to, but throughout the movie, mostly everyone else gets exactly what they asked from the stone. Why does Diana's go through a weird Freaky Friday but one guy's dead scenario? How does that change or benefit the story in any way? If you're gonna have Chris Pine play Steve again, why not just resurrect him? Anyway, Lord absconds with a stone, creating a hilarious hypothetical. We see him take the stone as he and Barbara are making out, which leaves one of two possibilities. Either he and Barbara boned with him trying to hide the stone the entire time, or they made out and he just ran away with the stone once we changed scenes, both of which are just hilarious to me. Lord gets his wish, haha, comedy, and uses the stone to, get this, become the stone? Right, okay, so he now takes on the stone's property of touch me and wish and I'll grant it, and that's his main villain move. Making other people's wishes come true? Wait, was the genie in Aladdin the villain? I'm confused. The next several minutes of the movie could probably have been cut, but it's just Max Lord, which, by the way, hilarious comic book name, using his powers to grant people's wishes, and a theme emerges. It's a monkey's paw situation, as the movie will tell us multiple times.
The monkey's paw.
And any wish someone is granted, they always sacrifice something in the process. Someone mentioned that it's, quote, whatever that person values most, end quote, that gets sacrificed, yet Lord chooses exactly what the sacrifice is, no matter the scenario, now that he's imbued with the power of the stone. So now that he has the stone's power, he also gets to change the stone's power? Or was the stone choosing sort of a default thing you loved before? I have so many questions. On Lord's I Dream of Genie power trip, he pops over to Egypt to try and take the oil of a man that Oil Economist Weekly, as Demi Adejuyigbe points out, the funniest joke of the film, named the King of Crude or something like that. He's just like a rival oil businessman. That's what Max Lord does. The depiction of Egypt in Wonder Woman 1984 feels as outdated and stereotypical as it would in a movie released in 1984, which I'm going to guess is not what they were going for. As other people far smarter than me have pointed out, representing 1980s Egypt, which actually looked like this, as the imperialist vision of the Middle East, is quite the miss. After he double crosses the American stereotype of an Egyptian man, we get our first action scene, and wait, how long has it been? The last action scene we saw was the montage opener. It's literally been an entire hour since Wonder Woman has done any Wonder Womaning. What? That's actually my biggest gripe with this film. So little of the movie is spent showing any action at all. They should have just named this film Diana, as it's more about her than her superpower alter ego. You want to know just how little? I did the math. In a movie that clocks in at 2.5 hours, only around 34 minutes or so contain any sort of combat action. And I'm being generous. I'm counting this scene and this scene as action. It's that dire. It's only like a fifth of the film. The action that is featured to add on to this issue isn't very good either. I remember loving some of the set piece scenes of the first movie, almost like an Uncharted, like the clock tower scene or the scene with Wonder Woman defiantly walking across no man's land. But all of this action just feels very unmotivated and weirdly directed. In this scene, why does Wonder Woman grab a bullet with her lasso instead of just using her bracer in the first place? Why does she spend so long doing her best Christmas vacation car impression under that truck?
We're all right. Thank God we're all right.
Why is it so important that she get to Lord right this instant, causing this entire scene of combat, instead of just following him until he inevitably has to take a flight or something? There may be some motivation capable of answering that last question, but I didn't find any in my watching. This is where we learn that Diana's wish to bring Steve back is solely costing her her powers, which I actually like, and I think that could have been a cool plot point. Weakness is what makes all great heroes, and it's a shame that her being weak didn't really come up more. So now, Diana, Barbara, and Steve go to a shaman man, Shaman Ex Machina, to find out that the only way to stop the stone's power is to renounce your wish, which basically reverses anything the wish grants. Seems simple enough, but later we're gonna see it's kind of weird in action. Barbara's now starting to show signs of turning heel. She's beaten up a man in the street who was going to sexually assault her early in the film, so good for her, and I don't think that played how the movie intended. And she also shudders at the idea of having to relinquish her newfound hotness / superpowers, the latter of which being the only reason I laughed at the entire film, as in one scene she pulls the fridge door off of its hinges and it just surprises her. That caught me off guard and made me laugh. The only other sort of funny moment for me was Steve constantly learning what the 80s were like. That was a really charming part of his character. But even some of those moments felt a little forced, and the dressing up montage just didn't hit like it probably should have for me. Still, Chris Pine is enjoyable when he's featured. Now Max takes to granting a wish to the president in exchange for having total influence over him. This works, and then he finds out, rather conveniently, that the US is working on a satellite system that will allow them to broadcast any message on every screen in the world. How does that even... what? Why and when would that be useful? Is that even legal? The president mentions during Max's questioning that this would allow them to touch as many people as possible. Oh no, I see where this is going. You have to be joking. Yep, because of some turn of phrase the president uses, which I'm not even sure is used correctly, Max's powers are now allowed to work via television. Then we have this sort of strange on-again, off-again fight scene in the White House with some really weird combat direction. Here, Diana deflects a bullet while Lord is running away. The bullet breaks a pot next to him, and that makes him collapse onto the ground for some reason? I've watched this shot like 6 times, and I still don't quite understand this one. Anyway, because she knows the plan is to get rid of everyone's wishes, Barbara is the third man and joins the NWO, siding with Lord to keep her powers. She and Diana fight, they get on equal footing, Wonder Woman pulls up a chair for a man who might have been injured, that's all fine. Lord gets away, and Barbara's soon to follow. Diana and Steve then have a talk, and he advocates for her to give him up, renouncing her wish. She talks about how hard that is, and then they say goodbye as she leaves in a tearful fit of rage. This scene was fine, but less powerful since we've already seen Steve die once. Oh, also Wonder Woman can fly now because reasons. Hey, it's the Superman shot, cool! On the helicopter ride to the TV station where Lord can broadcast his message, Max convinced Barbara to ask for more powers, and I'm just gonna refer to the Letterboxd review of the film from user David Elrich. Barbara. I used to be a nerd who nobody liked, but now I'm hot and bulletproof and can pull off Robert Smith levels of eyeliner. Max, but don't you want more? Barbara, I want to be Cat. That's right, Kristen Wiig, despite her valiant efforts in this movie, I don't know why you have a really funny person be in a movie and not really use that at all, except for like a little bits of physical comedy here and there. Why isn't she funnier in this movie? This movie really could have used some lighter, funny moments. But Kristen Wiig is now in that Cats movie. in this movie. It looks bad. And this climactic fight scene is not good. Why is it just so gray? Wonder Woman has this kick-ass new armor that's shiny and would allow for so many cool reflections. We even see that in the poster. And the only time we see her wear it is in this gray, musty, foggy-ass battle. The fuck? Also, if she has this armor now, why is she still wearing her older armor in the newer timeline movies? This better be a plot point in the third movie or I'm gonna be mad. So basically, Wonder Woman wins the fight with Barbara, as Lord is getting people all over the world to make wishes, leading to the world basically collapsing. Countries are launching nukes, the president's wish earlier was for war/nukes, people are asking for fame and fortune, some are wishing death on others, etc. Also, for some reason, the power of wishes now gives Lord the power of wind? I know a little gust would go through earlier whenever someone would wish, but why is it amplified now? What the hell's that? Anyway, Lord is finally brought to see the truth through Diana's lasso, his son, Alistair, in the streets as chaos is going on, and renounces his wish, bringing everything back to normal, which I kinda have a huge problem with. We see the world frantically control-Zing as this happens, but not on equal levels. Some things act as if time is just reversed, the nukes explode in the air, shrapnel anyone? And all of this is just too convenient wrap in a bow for me. I don't like it. Credit here, however, to Pedro Pascal, who has easily the best performance of the film. This is my first time seeing him in anything to my knowledge, and I was very impressed with it. Overall, this movie is so weak in areas that its predecessor wasn't, which is frustrating. It's totally a disappointment for me. Watch it if you're morbid and it's your wish, but I would renounce my wish if I were you. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that video, make sure to subscribe and like the video if you did enjoy it. If you want to join the Patreon that basically makes this series and all other YouTube series possible, patreon.com/dormstreams. You can also follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/dormstream. Stream multiple times a week at night on Eastern time. So go check it out over there. Go hang out, talk about movies, talk about games, and yeah, I'll see you next time.